Good day, students. Welcome to JSS 2 Basic Science, Term 2, Week 6. Today we study the water cycle, the continuous movement of water through the environment in different forms, liquid, gas, vapor, and solid ice. The same water molecules that fall as rain over Lagos may have been part of the Atlantic Ocean a week ago, or part of a cloud over the Sahara. The water cycle has no beginning and no end. It is a closed system that continuously recycles the Earth's water. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to define the water cycle and describe its stages, explain the processes of evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and infiltration, draw and label a diagram of the water cycle, explain the importance of the water cycle to Nigeria's environment and people, and identify human activities that disrupt the water cycle. Let us follow the journey of water. The water cycle, hydrological cycle, is the continuous natural recycling of water through the environment, driven primarily by solar energy and gravity. The cycle has no fixed starting point, but we can trace it as follows. 1. Evaporation. Solar energy heats surface water, oceans, seas, rivers, lakes, and converts liquid water into water vapor, which rises into the atmosphere. In Nigeria, the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Guinea, Lake Chad, the Niger and Benue rivers, and thousands of other water bodies contribute enormously to evaporation. 2. Transpiration. Water is also released from the leaves of plants as water vapor through stomata. When evaporation and transpiration are considered together, the process is called evapotranspiration. 3. Condensation. As water vapor rises, it cools, temperature decreases with altitude. When it cools below the dew point, it condenses around tiny dust particles to form water droplets. Millions of these droplets form clouds and fog. 4. Precipitation. When water droplets in clouds combine and grow heavy enough, they fall back to Earth as precipitation, rain, snow, hail, or dew. In Nigeria, precipitation is mainly rainfall. The South receives over 2,000 millimeters of rain annually. The North receives as little as 500 millimeters or less. 5. Surface runoff. Some precipitation flows over the land surface into rivers, streams, and eventually back to the ocean. 6. Infiltration and groundwater. Some precipitation soaks into the soil in infiltration and is stored as groundwater in underground rocks called aquifers. This groundwater feeds wells, springs, and boreholes, very important for water supply in Nigerian cities and rural communities. 7. Absorption by plants. Plants absorb some groundwater through roots, used in photosynthesis and metabolic processes, and release it back as water vapor through transpiration. The cycle then repeats. Section 1. Key processes of the water cycle in detail. Evaporation. Requires solar energy, heat, converts liquid to gas, rate is higher in hot, dry, windy conditions. In Nigeria, the hot harmattan season, November-March, causes rapid evaporation. As a result, rivers and lakes shrink during the dry season. Lake Chad has shrunk dramatically over the past 50 years due to increased evaporation from higher temperatures and reduced rainfall, one of Africa's greatest environmental crises, affecting millions of Nigerians in Borno State. Transpiration. Approximately 10% of the atmosphere's water vapor comes from plant transpiration. Deforestation in Nigeria, particularly in the southern rainforest belt and the middle belt, reduces transpiration, which can reduce local rainfall and contribute to a drier climate. This is why the Nigerian government's tree planting initiatives are ecologically important. Condensation. Clouds form when water vapor condenses. Types of clouds by altitude: cirrus, high, wispy, ice crystals, cumulus, mid-level, puffy, stratus, low, gray, rain clouds. In Nigeria, the dark storm clouds that bring torrential rain are cumulonimbus clouds. Precipitation patterns in Nigeria. Nigeria has two main seasons, wet season and dry season. The seasonal movement of the Intertropical Convergence Zone, ITCZ, a belt of low pressure where northeasterly harmattan winds and southwesterly Atlantic monsoon winds meet, determines rainfall distribution in Nigeria. When the ITCZ moves north, the south experiences dry season. When it moves south, the north experiences dry season. Infiltration and groundwater. Sandy soils, more porous, allow greater infiltration. Clay soils, less porous, cause more runoff. Groundwater from artesian wells and boreholes is the primary drinking water source for millions of Nigerians. The Jos Plateau sits on a major aquifer. Groundwater depletion, overuse of boreholes, is a growing concern in Abuja, Lagos, and Kano. Section 2. Importance of the water cycle. 1. Provides fresh water. The water cycle continuously purifies water through evaporation, which leaves salt and impurities behind, and precipitation, distributing fresh water across the continents. 2. Regulates temperature. Evaporation cools the Earth's surface, particularly tropical regions like Nigeria. Condensation and precipitation redistribute heat. 3. Supports agriculture. Rainfall, precipitation, waters crops. River flooding deposits fertile silt on farmland, e.g., the Niger River floodplains support rice farming. 4. Fills rivers and reservoirs. Nigeria's hydroelectric dams, Kainji, Shiroro, Jeba on the Niger River, depend on river flow maintained by precipitation and runoff. 5. Maintains ecosystems. Wetlands, mangroves, rainforest, and savannas all depend on specific precipitation patterns. Section 3. Human disruption of the water cycle. Deforestation reduces transpiration and disrupts rainfall patterns. Urbanization, paved surfaces, increases runoff and reduces infiltration, causing floods. Over-extraction of groundwater depletes aquifers. Burning of fossil fuels increases water vapor, a greenhouse gas, in the atmosphere, intensifying the water cycle and contributing to more extreme rainfall events. Pollution of water bodies, industrial waste, plastic, oil spills in the Niger Delta, reduces water quality in the cycle. Identify the process described in each statement. 1. After a heavy rainstorm, puddles on the streets of Lagos gradually disappear. Answer: evaporation. Solar energy converts the liquid water in the puddles to water vapor. 2. Moisture appears on the outside of a cold bottle of water on a humid day. Answer: condensation. Water vapor in the warm air around the bottle cools when it contacts the cold bottle surface and condenses into liquid water droplets. 3. Water from a river soaks into the ground and is eventually found in a well. Answer: infiltration/groundwater. Water percolates through the soil into an underground aquifer. 4. During the rains, rivers in Nigeria overflow their banks. Answer: surface runoff/precipitation exceeds infiltration capacity, causing excess water to run over the surface into rivers. 5. The leaves of a pawpaw tree release moisture on a hot afternoon. Answer: transpiration. Water absorbed by the roots is released as vapor through the stomata of the leaves. For water cycle errors. Mistake 1. Saying evaporation only occurs from the sea. Evaporation occurs from all water surfaces, rivers, lakes, puddles, soil, even wet laundry. Mistake 2. Confusing condensation and precipitation. Condensation is water vapor turning into tiny liquid droplets to form clouds. Precipitation is when those droplets combine into drops heavy enough to fall as rain. Condensation forms clouds, precipitation falls from them. Mistake 3. Thinking water is created or destroyed in the water cycle. The water cycle is a closed system. Total water on Earth stays constant, it just changes form, liquid left-right arrow, vapor left-right arrow, ice, and location. Mistake 4. Saying transpiration only occurs in plants. Evapotranspiration is the combined process of evaporation from all surfaces and transpiration specifically from plants. They are different contributions to the same atmospheric water. Brilliant work. The water cycle is the continuous natural recycling of water through the environment. Key stages: evaporation, solar energy converts liquid to vapor; transpiration, plants release vapor through stomata; condensation, vapor cools and forms clouds; precipitation, rain, hail, snow falls to earth; surface runoff, flows into rivers; infiltration, soaks into soil and becomes groundwater. Importance: provides fresh water, regulates temperature, supports agriculture and hydroelectric power, maintains ecosystems. Nigerian relevance, seasonal rainfall driven by ITCZ movement, lake charge shrinkage, groundwater from boreholes, Kainji Dam hydropower. Human disruptions, deforestation, urbanization, over-extraction, pollution. For homework, draw and label a diagram of the water cycle. On the diagram, mark 2 places where human activities in Nigeria have disrupted the normal cycle and explain the disruption.